Hello everyone, welcome to my series of videos on objective revisions of HSC Organization of Commerce and Management subject, Maharashtra State Board. So we have already discussed the objectives of the first three chapters, and we'll now be moving ahead with the objectives of the third chapter. And the name of the chapter is Entrepreneurship Development. So I'll share my screen with you. If you see here, the topic which we have in your textbook includes the following topics. Please note that the topic number 3.6, that is qualities of successful entrepreneur, has been cancelled from this year's syllabus. So you do not need to study that. You do not need to do even the objectives which come on this chapter. So to begin with, let me tell you, this chapter carries 5 marks, and we will be seeing the September paper as well, where how the 5 marks have been distributed in that particular year's paper. So to begin right away, we shall take the textbooks and start highlighting and marking the important possible objectives that we have in this chapter. So I hope everybody is ready with their pen and your textbooks, and let us start right away. I'm sure some of your markings have already been done through the year in your colleges, but all the same, please take a different color just to make sure that you're going to be studying these objectives for your internal tests, for your case studies, for your theory paper of 20 marks, as well as explained term or concept. So all in all, you're going to be using these one-liners and other marked highlighted texts in, distinguish between as an introduction to your different answers, etc. So we see the very first possible objective that we have on the first page of the chapter, and you have words like entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs are like innovators, finding new ideas. They are owners, producers, market creators. Remember these words, any of these could be important for match the pairs. You have entrepreneurs on one side and risk takers on the other. So that's how you may have to match the pair there. Also, you see the next line, you have entrepreneurs are referred to as the fourth factor of production. So which are the first 3 factors of production? Land, labor, capital. So as we know, entrepreneurs are considered to be the fourth factor of production. That's how important their role is in helping, production is possible only with entrepreneurs is what they're trying to say. So we see here that this is the first 2 objectives that are highlighted. I hope everybody is making the markings there. We go to page number 38 now, and you see the term there. The word entrepreneur comes from a French word. So again, please mark this. The word entrepreneur comes from French. The word entreprendre, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's a French word. And the meaning of this word is again to undertake. So we have 2 objectives here. Either the word comes from French word is one of the possible objectives, and the other one being the meaning of the word means to undertake. We move ahead, we see on the same page, there's another possible objective we have. You could have this for answer in 1 sentence or maybe 2 marks of explain term or concept. And here we are talking about entrepreneurship. There are several definitions of entrepreneurship coming in later as well, but in any case, let us just see what we are trying to say here. It means willingness of an individual to start a new business. Okay, entrepreneurship is to start a new business venture. Again, you see the word taking risks is what they are trying to highlight, and managing in this technology-enabled competitive global environment. So starting and managing under the competitive environment is what the objective is about. So we saw some meaning for entrepreneur, we saw some meaning for entrepreneurship. Both are slightly different. Please make sure that you understand the difference. So we see here once again, the next part of the highlighted text goes on page number 39. Another topic of characteristics of an entrepreneur. Again, you see highlighted words could be asked as, suggest appropriate commercial term, answer in 1 word term phrase. So who is an entrepreneur? Somebody who has to use creative thinking, imagination, enthusiasm, sincerity, etc. So under these characteristics, we see here that you have concepts like intellectual capability. So if you have an entrepreneur is expected to have dash capabilities. So this is how this could be used. There was an objective asked in the textbook somewhere about, true or false. An entrepreneur does not need to do hard work. So obviously it's a false statement, and this is how these head points are usually asked in your objectives. Once again, another example of a head point could be an entrepreneur is one who must have risk-bearing capacity. So this is how these head points, you must go through them. Don't worry, you don't really need to by heart all of them. But yes, all the same, you may completely just keep them in mind, read them twice or thrice, and that should be enough. In my video on chapter-wise weightage of important chapters, part 1, I have explained what are the only 2 short notes that you need to do from this chapter. Please watch the video if you have not yet watched it, and make sure that when you're going to be doing, you especially focus on the part that I have specified should be covered and which should not be done. So trust me, it appears to be a very long chapter, but you don't need to cover much from this. Regarding the objectives from this year, we expect 1 mark objectives, which was not there in the old board papers, so the chapter is quite similar. So this time we need to prepare all the possible objectives on this chapter as well. Moving ahead, like I said, the qualities of successful entrepreneur has been deleted. So let us move to the next topic in your chapter, and that is the topic of functions of an entrepreneur. Once again, the second short note. So the first short note you need to study from this is characteristics, and the second one is functions of entrepreneur. To some extent, considering that your question paper has some amount of options, choice, you may do only these 2, and yet you will be safe, considering that you may leave for choice if there is something apart from this. Moving ahead with the next objective, page number 41, last paragraph, under characteristics of entrepreneurship, and again you have another definition. So basically, if you'll see, this word is a process. So suppose your objective is the process of setting up a new business organization. Give commercial terms. Okay, so the question being the process of setting up a new business organization, your answer should be entrepreneurship and not entrepreneur. Like in the September paper, the question was the person who is setting up the business, then it is entrepreneur. So please clearly identify the difference when you are answering the question. Again, we have, whether it's entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, the word innovation, trying out new combinations, new ideas. So this has been asked, has been covered in some objectives in the text behind. So as we know, the meaning of the word innovation is nothing but a new combination, trying out new things. So new combination of factors of production is the concept there. Please mark it for objective. Hereafter, there is not much we expect from the topic of process of entrepreneurship development, neither from the various development programs that we have. We quickly move on to the topic of recent initiatives in entrepreneurship development, a new addition to the new syllabus, which did not appear in the old syllabus. 3 parts to this: Startup India, Stand Up India, and Agro-tourism. We expect objectives on all this. The chances of getting a short note on these are quite less. So we see here under Startup India, what is the concept that you need to study? Under Startup India, you have, it's an initiative of the government of India. So an objective could be asked on this. So main purpose, just understand what is the purpose of this Startup India movement, the concept of government of India. So it's a microfinance organization. It provides loans at a very low rate of interest, and it's to encourage entrepreneurship from the lower socio-economic background population. So that's how one small synopsis of this should be easy for you to answer possible objectives on this. Just read through this. Don't really worry or hassle if you're finding it difficult to learn. Do not worry. Maybe you can leave this for choice if it appears. But otherwise, you can just remember the most important parts. If you see here, Stand Up India ecosystem, basically you have NABARD and SIDBI, which are coordinating for the schemes of Stand Up India. One highlighted text you see here, Stand Up India scheme is for financing scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and for women entrepreneurs. So something which is highlighted and important for you to know. You see the very purpose of the loan. It's, to set up a new enterprise. Either it could be a manufacturing unit, trading, anything which helps the entrepreneurship in a big way. So this is how we have the possible questions on Stand Up India. The third and the last topic that you have in under these new topics of this chapter, agro-tourism. Again, a very wonderful concept of how, especially government of Maharashtra also has worked a lot in this. If you see, agro-tourism is the idea of bringing urban residents to rural areas. So tourism in rural areas, and tourists can actually get the experience or the feel of the rural areas. And that's how several activities, you see a list of activities I've highlighted here. So what activities are done under agro-tourism? You have, you go to a particular village, the rural areas, and a package is arranged where you can do trekking, fishing, hunting, farming. You can actually stay in the farmhouses. All of this together is different examples of agro-tourism or nature tourism, as it is called. So this is about the new concepts. The fourth important objective in this last part of the chapter is the term intrapreneurs. Intrapreneur, remember, is basically an employee. So he is getting salary from the organization, and he has been given the authority, and his bosses have given him the support to implement his own ideas, innovative and creative ideas. So please remember the spelling here. Intrapreneurs is what we are talking about. So dear students, this is all that you have in the objectives of the fourth chapter of the third chapter of Entrepreneurship Development. We shall now be discussing the September paper, under which you will be seeing the total 5 marks. As we said, this chapter carries 5 marks. We expect short answer of 4 marks and 1 mark of objective. It may be possible that if there is a 5 mark short note on this chapter, you do not get any objectives. However, if you have studied whatever I have stressed on now, you should be sorted with this chapter, considering that there is some amount of choice available in the paper. So that's all for now. I will be now moving on to the question paper. So as we have discussed all the markings of the possible questions on objective questions on the third chapter of Entrepreneurship Development, let me take you through the September 21 paper once again. The first page did not have any objectives on the chapter of entrepreneurship. So no objective in give one word or match the pairs. If you will see that the commercial term question, right, one word, this particular objective on entrepreneurship, and that's where we are talking about the objective. A person who is self-employed and innovator produces and introduces new combination of means of production. So this is one of the objectives. So 1 mark for writing down this objective. We see the next one now. If you will see that there was no question on this in odd one out, just 1 mark on objective. So which makes it now only 4 more marks of a question could be asked. No question on terms of concept, nothing on case study. No distinguish between at all appears in this chapter. The next question that we see, the 4 mark question that we see here, is again the question on explain the characteristics of an entrepreneur, and that's the question for 4 marks. So this is what we have in the September paper, all in all 5 marks, and we cannot have anything more than 5 marks on this chapter. So it's either 1 plus 4, 1 mark objective and a 4 mark answer, or there is this question where there are going to be 5 mark short notes. So in case that comes, we won't have an objective on this chapter. So please make note that do not spend too much of time and energy on this chapter. There is a video I posted for chapter-wise weightage of marks. Please watch that and you get a complete idea of the theory paper as well. With this, we end with our video on objectives revision of chapter 3. Please look out for the next video on the chapter 4. Share with your friends, subscribe, like, and I hope many of you take advantage of these revision sessions that I'm talking about. Thank you very much.